I will now call the December 20th, 2010 Blue Springs City Council meeting to order. We will stand, observe a moment of silence, and then I will lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. I want to welcome you all, those of you in attendance tonight, as well as those that might be watching on cable TV 7, to tonight's Blue Springs City Council meeting. The next item on the agenda is the consent. Unless there are items to be pulled, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Levis?
Aye.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Bowerman?
Aye.
Carried with Councilman Lauer absent.
Next, we have the introduction and reading of Bill 4147.
I'll introduce it, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
First reading of Bill number 4147, an ordinance approving the final plat for Quick Trip Store number 241.
Move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Your Honor,
yes.
if I may,
Yes, please.
I will be abstaining from this due to a conflict of interest, as one of my companies does business with Quick Trip.
Okay, duly noted. Thank you. Yeah. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Opposed, no. One abstention.
Second reading of Bill number 4147, an ordinance approving the final plat for Quick Trip Store number 241.
Move the bill be approved on its second and final reading and assign the appropriate ordinance number.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Abstain.
Councilman Bowerman?
Aye.
Carried with Councilman Edmondson abstaining.
Councilman Levis.
Pardon?
Yeah.
And Councilman Levis?
Aye.
And Councilman Lauer absent.
Okay.
That's ordinance, giving it ordinance 4325.
Next, we have introduction and reading of Bill 4148. Okay.
First reading of Bill number 4148, an ordinance imposing a public safety city sales tax in the city of Blue Springs, Missouri, and providing for such ordinance to be submitted to the qualified voters of the city.
Is there a motion?
Move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Councilman Fowler?
Yes, Your Honor. First of all, this is for the half-cent public safety sales tax, and I wanted to thank the commission for all the hard work that they put into this and all the time and effort. They definitely worked it well, and Councilman Bowerman is on that commission. He may have some good words to say about the commission as well. Also, I did get an email and conversations with one of our residents who has come to the Public Safety Advisory Board, made some comments there, met with staff in the past week, and has got some more information and desires that he would like to see for this public safety sales tax. Matter of fact, it's more of metric oriented, to state our goals and objectives. And I mean, I could go through his email, but he's in the audience tonight, so I'd like to have him kind of convey that information to the council and to review before the vote.
Well, I think most of us have been made aware of what those are, and certainly staff can respond if Chief McCoy would like to address that.
Mr. Cook? Yes. Yeah, Mr. Cook, thank you very much. We've been given all of your information, and I know that you met with our Assistant City Administrator and our Finance Director, and we are currently reviewing your discussions about training and firearms and with our firearms people, and I'll get a full response to you from that scenario. But from the standpoint of that information, we are more than happy to have a measurement way to deal with that. We like that, frankly. We're looking for transparency and for a way for our public to understand exactly what we're going to use every dollar for, and so we'll certainly work with you in that realm to make sure that's done. And I think that's really the question that was asked was, are there going to be measurable outputs? And there most certainly will.
And one of the things I might add to that is the public safety, I get it out here. The Public Safety Citizens Advisory Board has been charged with oversight on everything that they do, and 2 of those members are present tonight, right behind you. So there will certainly be a lot of oversight as we proceed with this issue. So is that pretty much?
I'm happy to respond also.
Okay, and Mr. Johnson would like to also respond.
Thank you, Your Honor, and Chief McCoy for your response there. I'm aware that staff met with Mr. Cook last week, I believe it was at City Hall, and I'll go on record stating that we use already a number of metrics and performance measurement indicators with regard to our police department. We track our unified crime report statistics. We report on those annually. We also use our citizen survey, which provides us with information about how our community feels about the level of service and satisfaction that they get with our police department. We also report annually in our budget document goals and performance measures for the public safety department, along with every other department that we provide an annual budget allocation for. I've already had a number of conversations with Chief McCoy and staff with regard to the annual citizen survey and our metrics for that particular category. We're particularly interested in the benchmarking data. One of the, you've seen this report already, and it's available on our city's website. There are 6 categories that are specifically tracked on a metropolitan level for the police department. And out of those 6, we currently in the police department are slightly below average in 4 of those, and we are at average in 2 of those. And I've gone on record already indicating that that's an unacceptable level of performance for me and our staff. We are working diligently on that, and our citizen survey for the last 2 years has indicated that we've moved a number of indicators in our police department already, so we're moving in the right direction. We are not satisfied with that. We're going to continue to drill down, and if this initiative goes forward with the support of the City Council, you're going to see potentially a substantial allocation of resources that will go to the police department, and I'm convinced will allow us to move those metrics even more. We are also prepared to evaluate each and every single one of our performance measurements that we provide in our budget document, in our annual report that you adopt, and we'll find ourselves to be prepared over the next several weeks to revise and update that information, and in anticipation of what we hope would be a successful passage of a sales tax, and we will certainly drill down and hopefully work very diligently to satisfy Mr. Cook as well as any other citizens in our community who are interested in seeing the performance of our police department improved.
Okay, thank you very much. That satisfy the council? Councilman Evans, are you done?
Yeah, I think he did have a visitor's forum, so maybe, I guess that's everything you wanted to address? Or?
Yeah, and we'll bring him up during that time period. I'm not going to bring him up now while we're having this discussion.
Okay. I guess relative to the sales tax, putting it on the ballot, how we got here, I think, is a little concerning to me. We have been on a path, I would say, of spending as a city probably more than we should in the past 6 years. We've backed a number of development issues, the citizens have, and extended our credit quite severely. You know, there's information in the budget which is very concerning that revenues are down. Normally, a tax increase proposal should be the measure of last resort, and we're definitely seeing that revenues are down in a very challenging budget cycle. I want to say that in my tenure on City Council, when I came here, there were 74 full-time employees in the public, 75 full-time public safety employees. Now there's 122. That's a growth of 47 new officers. This proposal only talks about adding 17, but since my tenure and all the councils I've worked with, we've added 47 to the public safety department without a tax increase. The annual budget back then was $3.6 million. Today it's 12.4. Okay, so on staffing we've increased by 62%, while the population's only increased by 32% in the same time period. That to me is the way taxes should happen. Taxes are going to grow as time grows, and what you're available to do with it if you make public safety a priority. So this one is a very challenging decision. It is going to be good to put it in the hands of the citizens to make that decision. So I look forward to that. It's got another, a couple of other good initiatives. Instead of adding 17 employees to the Public Safety Department is a great initiative. Expanding the building that we're in by 50% will be a great initiative, as well as taking care of the communication equipment too. So, yep, that's all I have.
Councilman Edmondson?
Well,
Are you on?
I'm on. Yeah, it should be on now. 3 years ago, I believe the election was very critical when the mayor ran, and myself and some other people on the council. One of the top priorities was our public safety. And I think we've made great strides over the last 3 years to improve a lot of those areas in the public safety. We've done patrol rifles, tasers. We're talking about mobile data terminals, license recognition. The mayor started up the Citizens Police Academy, which has been tremendously successful. That has added our volunteers and police service ranks, expanded greatly, and we just had a police awards banquet the other night and was just awarding, I think, something like 3,000 hours worth of volunteer time that we put into that. So I think the public's indicated through our current survey that we've seen some increases in response. Our public is looking at it favorably in what we're doing. One of the best things about this that I see is that it will give us the ability to upgrade our communication systems. I mean, the best example I can give on that right now is all officers are dialing on a rotary phone when they should be using a cell phone. That's essentially the technology we have in place. It's really bad, and this is about the only opportunity we have to be able to come back and improve that. So to me, this is something is another step in the progress to get us where we want to go and where I believe our citizens wants us to go.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other councilman? Councilman Byerman?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just want to begin by saying, even as liaison on this board, where I don't vote, like with the chief, we are very much there and a part of these meetings, and I can't say enough good about the dedication and the commitment of these citizens who volunteer for this and that come together from just a broad spectrum of our city. It just goes to show again what good people we have that live in Blue Springs and want to make it an even better place to live. And on top of that, the assistance from Todd Pelham and Christine in giving us the information that was very important and very exact. It also helps neighbors like mine, Jack Cook, so that he can have his answers to the questions that he has and other people like him. So I'm just very pleased. I know it's not the easiest thing for us to do, and it's the first time I've been involved in something like this, but I'll be on the other end too. And I'll know that every $10 there'll be an extra nickel. I'll know that. But I also believe that the citizens of Blue Springs, just like we are chartered here and take the oath, they want to do what's best for our city. And I do believe, Mayor, and my fellow council members and the city staff and my neighbors, that they will respond on April 5th. I do believe that. And it's something that in two ways we talked about value. My neighbor and I did. What is the value? We may not see it right now in the numbers, but I do believe we will in the years to come. We'll see it in all the things that Councilman Fowler mentioned and that we discussed and that is a part of this, and that we will be good stewards over. But it will take some time, and I believe we will see that, and we will look back and say this was the right thing to do. Thank you.
Your Honor, when I ran along with Councilman Bowerman, Councilman Levisay, we all ran on upgrading the radios. So there's no doubt in any of our minds that we're going to upgrade the radios, and it's going to be a great thing for the city. On November 29th, when we met, I raised the trial balloon of doing a half cent to pay for the hard costs of the radios and the construction, and then backing it down to a quarter cent. The members of the Public Safety Citizens Advisory Board convinced me that the ongoing costs with the officers that will be incurred. I'm not a big fan of an open-ended tax increase that we're going to keep, forever and ever. But for public safety, when you look at our 4 guiding principles, you look under quality, the first item on there is we desire to create and maintain a safe community. And I think Chief McCoy has done a wonderful job with what he's had, but it's time to upgrade. And so to remove any doubt at all, I'll be supporting the half-cent sales tax when it moves forward.
Thank you. Former chairman of the Public Safety Citizens Advisory Committee, and now Councilman Chris Levison.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to make a couple of quick comments. A lot of what's been said, like kind of what's been going through my mind, but I think it's important to note, and the advisory board has played this out, there are needs in the police department. There are public safety needs, and the radio is one of the big ones. And so there's no doubt that as the oversight goes, and if this is some funding we have, I know the board, who has done a tremendous job, even especially since I've left, probably they doubled up on their meetings and have done a great due diligence in making sure that this money is going where it needs to go, should this be something that is possible. And also, I think it's important to note that this isn't the vote here tonight is not to implement a sales tax. And I think if that were the case, there'd be a much different discussion up here. I'm all about limiting government and only to where the needs that they need to go. And I think that this is an essential aspect of government work is public safety. And, keeping the citizens safe and providing basic services. Some people have different opinion on what basic services means, but this is an essential government activity. And so I think now what we're doing is just saying these are the needs, we've identified them, and this is giving it to the citizens to say, is this how you want to fund these needs? Is this the resource you want to provide? And so I think I would agree with most of what's been said. This is an important step for us to say, we've done our job, we've done what we can do by providing you with the information. And I think, as Mr. Cook found out this week, there's no secrets here. There's no hidden agenda. If you ask anybody on the Public Safety Board, they will tell you and they will lay it out as far as what they've been doing for the past year. And staff has been tremendous in doing that as well. So I think this is an important thing for us to do tonight. And I hope as it plays out in the next few months, we're just able to get more information out and be more successful in telling the citizens what it is we're trying to do here. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilman
Yeah,
Fowler.
and Your Honor, just to close again, I think what the initiatives Mr. Cook is trying to do really closes the loop on the whole thing. In other words, the book here talks about everything we do with it, but he also attaches onto it some things that a citizen is talking about, and that's accountability with the tax dollars. And I think to fully sell it, we need to, go out and listen to the residents who's been coming forward and wants to talk about this accountability.
Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Second reading of Bill Number 4148, an ordinance imposing a public safety city sales tax in the city of Blue Springs, Missouri, and providing for such ordinance to be submitted to the qualified voters of the city.
Move the bill be approved on its second and final reading and assign the appropriate ordinance
Is there
number.
a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Bowerman?
Aye.
Councilman Levesey?
Aye.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Carried with Councilman Lauer absent, giving an ordinance number 4326.
Thank you. It brings us to mayoral announcements. Certainly, again, I want to recognize the 2 members of the Public Safety Citizens Advisory Committee that's in the audience, Mrs. Black and Mr. Ford, Miller Ford. So anyway, they're right here, and I want to convey to the other members our appreciation for all that you do. I know Chairman Eckert has been very actively engaged and met with Mr. Cook as well. So anyway, thank you for your service. Friday, December 24th, City Hall will be closed for the Christmas holiday, and again on Friday, December 31st, City Hall will be closed for the New Year's holiday. And certainly I wish all of you in attendance, as well as those that's watching, a wonderful and safe Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Tonight's Thoughts to Ponder comes from Councilman and State Representative-elect Jeannie Lauer, although she's not here tonight. The next 2 will come from her as she parts this place for a higher calling, some might say, in Jefferson City. to represent us, and I'm certain that she'll do a great job in doing that. But hers tonight comes from Colin Powell. If you're going to achieve excellence in big things, you develop a habit in little matters. Excellent is not the exception, it is a prevailing attitude. And I want to thank Councilman Jeannie Lauer for providing that, and when she comes for her fanfare at the next council meeting, we have another one in her honor. That concludes my mayoral announcements, and that brings us to the visitor section. Mr. Cook, did you wish to come up and address? I think we have covered most of the things, but we want to afford you that opportunity.
Thank you. I've never heard my name said so many times in one day in a nice way. I'm retired. I used to be a hospital CEO and vice president of operations for a national hospital company. So thank you for listening to me go on a little bit about things that I feel are very important in operations of any service.
Is that microphone on?
This one?
Okay.
Of any service. And the police and the city is a service. When you're asking voters to vote, that's good. And when you're asking to vote to give their money, under law, that's another story. But it has to be, and it's, sometimes you just have to do these things, and that's the way it is. We all go back to Maslow and the hierarchy of needs, safety, one of the very basic ones. But where are we today with Blue Springs? And where are we with people and their perceptions of any government? But, it's making sure they get their value for what they're paying. Right now, I moved back to Blue Springs a year ago by choice. My wife and I could have lived anywhere. We chose back here. But what we do is we've seen foreclosures in the area. We've seen that was never there before. We've seen home values drop and things like that. People are very dollar conscious. So when you're coming to people at the same time, you're running an ad campaign to buy in Blue Springs, and when you're doing that, raise the sales tax, help it out. Tell them what you're looking for, what you're going to do. Commit to what you're going to do. Grant, you the other night said value, and that's where I'm at. Commit to what you're going to do. Are you going to not just increase visibility, buy radios? Are you going to, what's the bottom line? Are you going to increase response time for 9/11? You're already measuring that, Chief. You've got statistics everywhere. But is it going to improve? How much? Yeah, we can do this. We're going to improve it by 10% or 5%. Are we going to decrease traffic accidents in Blue Springs? Well, it's not a yes or no. It should be yes by so many percent. And we can commit to that. That's the commitment and the follow through. Christine in the meeting one day says when you measure something, you'll succeed at it. Well, I believe that you'll also excel at it. There's a sign y'all posted, your department, on Moreland School Road, completed as promised. On the public service, on the half-cent sales tax, as promised. Make your promise, keep it, and exceed it. You won't have any trouble. If you don't, that's another story. But I believe it was there, and I think so. I talked with neighbors, and I'll be brief, but the initial response was, oh, Jack. And then one neighbor said, just sick 'em. Well, no. And I explained to him, where I'm going with this is I want to have real numbers applied to the sales tax and the service that we're doing to measure and show successes. And therefore is accountability, and that's commitment. And after we talked and listened a little bit, he said, yeah, okay, I can deal with that one. But just to say increase visibility, like I shared with Christine, that just, she'll look at it as a CFO and say, oh man, there's so many gallons, so many tires I have to buy, so many cars, so many. But all that visibility comes down to what? Not only making a better city, but how do you measure it's a better city? That's what we're into. So we're on your side, but do what you say you're going to do and then do it a little better. That's all.
Mr. Cook, we're counting on you.
I'm there.
All right, thank you. Those are the only visitors cards that I have. Without any other ones, I would accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no? We adjourn.